Hi, everyone. I'm Kari Reed, the U.S. Director of ALLMEP, and I have the pleasure of being joined today by Avi Meyerstein, the President and Founder of ALLMEP. Avi, welcome.
Thanks, Kari. It's great to be here.
Avi, so you and I just watched this video where we just saw programs that bring Israelis and Palestinians together and seeing how they can confront the tough issues that face them in the conflict and work together to improve their daily lives. And that we also saw that the vast majority of people, when engaged in these programs, dramatically changed their attitudes about each other.
Yeah, and at the same time, we've also seen what happens when peace agreements between leaders are not strongly and broadly supported. Peace building programs are absolutely critical to create the popular demand and the conditions that are needed for future peace to succeed.
Yeah. So when I hear you say that, Avi, the question to me is, how do we change not just the individuals or the small communities, but how do we change the big picture of the conflict itself?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. It goes to the heart of everything that we do at ALLMEP. To change the big picture, we have to not just reach those individuals and local communities, but we have to reach so many more people over the long term and keep them engaged.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. And so we both know that today our members' projects reach tens of thousands, but we have to remember that there are 14 million people living between the river and the sea. And most of them doubt that they have a partner they can trust without ever meeting anyone from the other side. And you and I both have talked about this, and we think that our members' programs can change that.
Yep, I know all of us at ALLMEP have imagined the landscape and what it would look like if we could reach just 25% of the population. I mean, that's 3 million people. But imagine if there were joint schools and community centers and business hubs and sports programs located everywhere that Israelis and Palestinians were living near each other but rarely interacting. We could significantly expand the number of communal spaces for Jews and Palestinians, young and old, men and women, to work, to learn, and to play together.
Yeah, I like to think about it like imagining if every person and every family knew someone deeply changed for the better and working toward peace. And we know this strategy works. And more importantly, I think that we can scale it.
Yeah, that's a really important point. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We've seen strategic long-term investments like this help deliver and sustain peace in other places around the world. In Northern Ireland, for example, starting 12 years before there was a peace treaty, the world was spending more than $44 per person every year on peace building priorities through the International Fund for Ireland.
Yeah, that's a big number, $44 per person annually. And it reminds me that we have a long way to go with regards to this conflict. I mean, before the US MEPA investment, donor governments spent just $1.50 for people to people peace building efforts among Israelis and Palestinians. And we know that there's a huge need to increase trust, respect, and hope for peace. So, Avi, I know you just returned from Northern Ireland, where you spent several weeks with the International Fund. Can you tell me a little bit about what really stands out from your visit there?
Well, I was there for several weeks and I saw a lot while I was there, but a couple of things really stand out to me from the visit. First of all, I think the International Fund for Ireland has been transformational because it guarantees that civil society has the long-term resources necessary to bring people together and give peace a real chance. If the divisive and bloody sectarian conflict rages on for generations, from what I saw there, it's clear that it still takes generations to repair and come out of that. And the second thing is that the fund really has unique legitimacy. So people all over Ireland, Northern Ireland, trust the IFI because it was multilateral funding, because it was so independent, and because it really focused laser-like on one thing, which was building trust and partnerships to bring about peace. It's really my sincere belief that MEPA should be the first step in establishing a similar strategic and long-term approach to peace that we know works in the Middle East.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great because with the enactment of MEPA, there's now a dedicated long-term funding stream that Israeli and Palestinian peace builders can rely upon. It has 5 years of funding, and it also opens the door for the possibility of multilateral partnerships with other donor countries so that peace building efforts can be long-term, they can be sustained, institutionalized, and coordinated in a way that has never been attempted for this conflict.
Yeah, that's why MEPA was such an important breakthrough and why it's such an important opportunity, especially now. We're constantly advocating to make an international fund for Israeli-Palestinian peace a reality. And now we're seeing momentum. For instance, at the G7 conference earlier this year, 8 world leaders sat around face to face at a small table, and one of them proposed working to create this international fund that we've put on the table. The UK formally endorsed this concept, both the government and the opposition, just like the bipartisan consensus in Washington that helped to deliver MEPA. And we've also seen interest from Canada, France, Germany, the UAE, Japan, Australia, and the EU. It's really building. And the Abraham Accords now allow us to imagine a process that brings the wider region into this project, supporting Israeli-Palestinian civil society peace building for the very first time. Before and during the process in the 1990s, we really missed a moment. We should have dramatically invested in grassroots peace building so that the Israeli and Palestinian publics would have been ready partners to support the hard-won agreements signed by their leaders. That's what happened in Northern Ireland. But here comes MEPA just at the right time, giving us a chance to get this right the second time around. If we seize this moment and build an international fund to work for the next generation, a future peace process could look a lot different than those in the past.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your remarks, Avi, on that. I mean, I think this is a great cause for optimism, which we all need more than ever as violence continues and peace seems so out of reach. So thank you, Avi, for your insights and tremendous efforts to keep the International Fund for Israeli-Palestinian Peace moving forward.
And thank you, Kari, for all of your leadership and hard work to get us to the next milestone. With such an incredible team, a growing network of peace builders, and the supporters who are standing behind us, I know we'll get there.